Welcome to California State University San Bernardino's Introduction to HCM 9.0 online training. This presentation runs for approximately 45 minutes. At the end of this presentation, you're required to complete a simple test and also complete an evaluation of this training course. We thank you in advance for your cooperation. Let's go ahead and get started. We will be providing you with basic steps on how to use HCM 9.0. Our campus has implemented the different modules. Each module is used to record, view, and process specific information about human resources functions. All modules are within the same web-based system, and data is passed between the various modules. This training will specifically focus on basic introductory processes and is a prerequisite to modules such as Workforce Administration for temp faculty, Central Human Resources, and departments which require use of HCM. Specific module training will be required to gain access to the system. In order to prepare you for working with HCM 9.0, it is important to have a basic understanding of how a web-based system works, and specifically how the HCM 9.0 web-based system works. The HCM 9.0 web-based system is data stored as a group of related tables consisting of rows and columns. In this presentation, it will be referred to as a database. The data is kept safe by allowing only users who are set up with an employee ID, also known as a Coyote ID or Campus ID, and passwords to access it or sign into it. HCM 9.0 is accessed using a web browser, so it is also helpful to understand the basic functions of the areas and buttons on the web browser. To begin using HCM 9.0, log in using the campus portal. From the campus homepage, CSUSB.edu, then select the My Coyote login link. You are prompted to enter your user ID and password. All users have a unique user ID to identify which areas of the system are accessible to them. CSUSB has adopted the EMPL ID as the unique user ID for HCM users. It determines the information you can view, add to, and delete from the system. Your password is used for security, and it can be changed at any time. It is important not to share your user ID and password. As a note, your user ID and password are case sensitive. Your password will display as asterisks. An error message will display if your user ID or password is invalid. Re-enter the user ID and password, or contact the Technical Support Center at 77677 to request to have your My Coyote ID reset. If you leave an HCM window open, but do not take any actions on the page for a period of time, the system will automatically time out or log off as a security feature after 15 minutes of inactivity. If you have multiple windows open, the timeout will be driven by whichever window has met the maximum time open. Be sure to close windows no longer needed. When the system times out, all unsaved data is lost. The PeopleSoft browser-based interface provides an intuitive way of updating and viewing data in your database. The menu consists of a hierarchy of folders and content references. Expanding and collapsing these folders and selecting content references from within them is the primary means of navigating within the PeopleSoft applications. HCM 9.0 navigation is organized by the business process of specific components. Menu content is based on specific access. User may have more or less menu options based on access. In order to begin working in the HCM 9.0 system, it is important to first understand how to navigate within it and how information is organized within the system. This topic details the various elements of the HCM 9.0 homepage and how it uses its menus. After signing in, the HCM 9.0 homepage is displayed. From the homepage, you begin your task by navigating through the menus to select the procedure or activity you wish to complete. This is a shot of the home page. From the home page, begin your task by selecting links to navigate through the menus. The navigation header portion of the home page is continuously displayed as you navigate through the system. A is for Favorites, Add to Favorites. Stores your favorite pages. You can choose to add the current page to your favorites list for easy accessibility. The favorites list is like your own list of bookmarks to components and transaction pages that you use frequently. Once you add a favorite, it appears under the My Favorites breadcrumb in the menu. You can return to the page by expanding the favorites breadcrumb and clicking the link for the page that you want to view. B is for Main Menu. Returns you to the main menu. C is Home. Home returns you to the home page from anywhere in the system. D is Work List. CSUSB does not use this feature. E is Sign Out. Click the Sign Out link to sign out of HCM 9.0. You will have to sign in again to return to the home page. Important. For security purposes, it is important that you sign out when you are finished with your PeopleSoft session rather than simply closing the browser window. Other users could potentially access your cached home page from another portal if you do not sign out properly. F is for Main Column. Select a menu option in the main column to begin your navigation to a specific page. This column contains a general list of areas you can access. G is the collapse icon. Use the collapse icon to temporarily remove the main menu. H, the help icon, is not used here at CSUSB. HCM 9.0 menus are used to select the information that you want to display. You will choose items on the menu, starting with broad areas and narrowing down to specific topics. Each menu you choose displays another, more specific menu of choices to help you select the procedure or activity you wish to complete. To begin navigation, select one of the menu options listed in the main column. The arrow icons to the left of the link indicate whether you can expand or collapse that menu selection. This column contains a general list of the areas you can access. Once you select the general area in which you want to work, select one of the menu options listed in the expanded column. This column contains the sub-levels to the main category you selected. Once you select the sub-level in which you want to work, select one of the menu options listed in the expanded column. This column typically contains the activities that lead you to specific tasks. Notice the dialog box that appears when you point to any of the hyperlinks. In this example, we're pointing to Modify a Person. This navigation page permits access to the specific components available on the main menu in specific folders. After navigating through the HCM 9.0 menu structure to an activity, the appropriate search page displays. The CSU ID search page, also called the lookup page, is the first step of navigation to bring up a record in HCM 9.0. In this upgraded version, the search component offers more viewable data in the results page. This enhancement will save the end user some processing time. In addition, the enhancement includes breadcrumbs, which display as you navigate at the top of the page. The system searches for and retrieves all records containing the data that you enter. It lists the resulting records in rows at the bottom of the page. Select the row with the specific data that you require. For example, if you enter only Smith in the last name field, rows for all individuals with the last name of Smith are listed in the search results. The CSU ID Search Business Process Guide covers the basic steps for searching for a person in the database. This process is completed to avoid creating duplicate employee IDs for persons. The CSU ID search combines searches from the recruiting, human resources, and campus solutions applications. We will now perform a CSU ID search. At the home page, select the CSU ID search hyperlink. The CSU ID search page appears. It is recommended to use the first 3 letters of the person's first and/or last name when searching to avoid duplicate entries. You can also use the % sign as a wildcard to assist with the search. All fields but the national ID field will support a partial search. The national ID is required to have the full Social Security number entered. If the user enters part of the number, they will receive an error. We are now going to enter characters in the first and last name fields. The results are now displayed. You will see fields that include name, employee ID, date of birth, employee class, HR status, etc. Search results can be downloaded into Excel by selecting the download icon above INST description. We are now going to select the Details link to further research the data. By clicking on the Detail link, the user is taken to a component based on end-user security for further review. The type of person listed in the search result will determine the component that is opened for further review. Select the Details hyperlink now. Now we see the detailed information for our person. On this page, there are 3 tabs: Biographical Details, Contact Information, and Regional. Biographical Details tab shows you information such as date of birth, gender, effective date, and marital status. The Contact Information tab provides you with the address, phone number, and email for our person. The Regional tab shows us information such as ethnic group and military information. We are now going to search for a person using the organization summary. This function is available only to users with security access to enter new data into the system. From the main menu, we will select Workforce Administration. Now we will select Personal Information. Lastly, we will select Person Organizational Summary, which will be referred to as POS. At the POS search page, enter the criteria for the search. We will now select the Search button. The Person Organizational Summary page appears. The fields displayed include name, employee ID, HR status, payroll status, etc. We are now going to explore Save Searches. You are able to save your frequently used criteria as a saved search. Enter your search criteria into a field and select the Save Search Criteria hyperlink. You are prompted to name your search on the Save Search As page. As a note, if other components use the same search criteria, the Save Search could be available. Now we have named our search and will select the Save button. Our search has now been saved. We will select the Return to Advanced Search hyperlink to return to the Person Organizational Summary page. We have returned to our Person Organizational page and are now going to delete our saved search. The Delete Saved Search hyperlink is available to delete existing saved searches no longer used. We are going to select the Delete Saved Search hyperlink now. Choose the saved search name to be deleted and select the Delete button. We are now left with one saved search remaining. Our Delete Saved Search was successful. We will select the Return to Advanced Search hyperlink to return to the Person Organizational Summary page. We are now going to learn to use favorites to bookmark frequently used pages. The favorites list is like your own list of bookmarks to components and transaction pages that you use frequently. Once you add a favorite, use the breadcrumb to select the Favorites folder. Add to Favorites is a static hyperlink at the top of the main menu. Favorites are specific to the workstation, not to the user ID. Let's add a page to our favorites now. We are now going to select the Add to Favorites hyperlink. The Add to Favorites page appears, with the page name as the default in the description field. Update the description for the favorite if necessary, and select OK. Your favorite is being saved and will now appear under the Favorites breadcrumb at the top of the page. Select the Favorites breadcrumb. And now we see our favorite is saved. Now that we have learned to create a favorite, we're going to learn to delete a favorite. To delete or edit favorites, expand the Favorites drop-down breadcrumb. Select Edit Favorites. The Edit Favorites page displays a list of favorites. Modify or delete by selecting the specific favorite. On the Edit Favorites page, you can relabel favorites, delete favorites, or modify the sequence in which they appear on your menu page. If there are no favorites currently saved, a message indicates this in place of the favorites grid. Locate the favorite that you want to modify or delete and make your changes. As you can see, our favorite has now been deleted. We will select Save to save our changes. Next, we are going to add a new value. When you use the Add a New Value page, you're actually adding a new record to the HCM 9.0 database. Prior to adding a new value, it is very important that you know whether the record already exists in the database. Refer to the CSU ID Search Business Process Guide to make sure the record does not already exist. First, we are going to navigate to Workforce Administration. Next, we will select Personal Information. And now we select Add a Person. The Add a New Person page appears. The system will auto-assign the ID. The ID will remain new until you save the information. At that time, HCM 9.0 assigns an ID number. Next, we will choose the Add the Person hyperlink. The HCM 9.0 page displays where you can begin to enter information for the new record. Once you have navigated to the HCM 9.0 module and selected the activity, you will begin the appropriate data entry to complete the task. In order to quickly and efficiently use the HCM 9.0 system, it helps to be familiar with the way HCM 9.0 organizes tasks and information. Related information is grouped into components and further organized into individual pages, which allows you to view and update the data stored in the database. Each page contains fields that display the information related to the record you selected. Move to the different pages in the component to display the related information in the component. Whether you're performing data entry, running a process, or inquiring on information stored in HCM 9.0, you are using a page to do it. In simple terms, an HCM 9.0 page is your means to interact with the information stored in the database. When pages are grouped under a common heading, these pages are called a component. For example, the pages that comprise higher information in HCM 9.0 are collectively called the higher component. Each page is labeled with the Page tab, which you can click to display the associated page. The picture on the screen shows the biographical details page in the personal information component. When searching for existing records that are effective dated, if you have the authority, you can indicate whether you would like to correct history. The Correct History checkbox, depending on security, when selected, tells the database to access all rows of an existing effective dated record in HCM 9.0. current and historical rows can be modified using this page action. It helps to be familiar with the way HCM 9.0 organizes its pages to efficiently use the system. Let's dissect the HCM 9.0 page and examine its elements: data entry fields, shortcut buttons, page links, page tabs, row counters, scroll areas, and buttons. A. Page tabs identify the page you are viewing and allow you to navigate through a component. The blue page tab that stands out in the front indicates the page that is being displayed. B. The new window link opens a new browser window or child window, which automatically opens to the activity you are currently using. From here, you can select another procedure to view or enter data. There can be an unlimited number of child windows open. However, inactive windows time out after a designated period of time and can result in the loss of unsaved data. C. Favorites are server-based, providing the ability to store and name user favorites based on login to database. D. Shortcut buttons indicate various functions, such as searching for a value using the lookup page and selecting a date from the calendar page. E. Notepad allows for adding notes to records. Any notes in a record can be subpoenaed for legal reference. F. The row counter and navigation buttons indicate that multiple rows of data can or do exist on the page. The arrows and text links allow you to view the desired row or all rows of data. G. Insert or delete rows. These buttons permit you to add or delete rows of data. H. Fields are the most important elements of a page. This is where data can be viewed, entered, or selected through various data entry field types. I. Related links allow you to easily navigate to related components and still retain the record you're viewing. This allows you to continue to work in the same record without having to go through the search process again. J. Buttons indicate various commands, such as insert row, save, next record and list, include history, refresh, and so on. K. Page links are found at the bottom of the page and allow you to navigate through a component. L. Breadcrumbs are displayed at the top of every page for easy access to pages you have visited. M. The Go To Row button allows you to search for a record by entering a date or a row number. You can still click through the record by using the arrows if you prefer. There are a number of fields in HCM 9.0 that require special attention. A few of the common fields that require special data entry formatting are date fields, phone fields, monetary fields, and name fields. Be sure to enter all numbers without using dashes or hyphens. The date field is an example of a formatted edit box. If you enter the full date as 081267, HCM 9.0 formats the date as 08/12/1967. The date automatically formats when you click Save or when any data is processed. You can also click the Calendar button to choose the date from the calendar. When entering dates, validate that you have entered the correct date, otherwise the system will populate, for example, the year 2066 if insufficient data is entered. Phone fields. 10-digit phone numbers may be entered without parentheses, spaces, or dashes. If you enter the phone number as 617-656-1234, HCM 9.0 formats the number with the appropriate spaces. This format only applies to U.S. phone numbers. As a note, the preferred checkbox must be used when more than one entry is entered for phone or email. Name fields are formatted first name, last name. A middle initial may be included after the first name without a period. The middle initial, or name, is required when on the Social Security card. To complete the name field, click on the Add Name link to open the Edit Name page. Enter name parts as appropriate. This is the primary name and must match the Social Security Administration card. Monetary fields. When you enter a monetary amount, enter the decimal point and zeros. For example, if you enter 7850 and tab out of the field, HCM 9.0 populates the number as 7850.000000. This format only applies to U.S. currency. Many HCM 9.0 pages have one or more required fields. On some pages, an asterisk beside the name field designates it as a required field. In some cases, HCM 9.0 determines that a field is required. In other cases, your campus's business process may require data entry in a particular field. If you try to save a page with data missing from a required field, the field turns red and a warning message displays. You must enter a value to continue. For example, date of birth is a required field on the biographical details page. This field turns red if you attempt to save without entering the data. We will now be working with rows. HCM 9.0 pages are used to interact with the database, which is the core of the HCM 9.0 application. These pages can be thought of as a visual representation of the rows and tables that actually comprise the database. It is important to have a good understanding of how HCM 9.0 stores the information you enter so that you can use the system most efficiently. When entering data, it is helpful to add rows to input additional information into the system. Adding rows allows you to include more information in one record, such as recording additional emergency contacts, without having to overwrite the original information entered. Further, adding rows is useful because it allows you to build a historical record of events, such as an employee record that contains hire, promotion, and leave of absence information. These rows have dates associated with them to keep accurate historical records of all the information entered into the system. When adding a row, in correction mode, be sure not to overwrite the data. When a record has more than one row, it is often necessary to navigate between the various rows of information. Viewing multiple rows of information can be very helpful, especially for historical purposes. The row counter indicates the total number of rows and provides you with the position of the row you are viewing relative to the total number of rows in the record. A. The forward button moves you to the next row of information in the record. B. The previous button moves you to the previous row of information in the record. C. The last link moves you to the last row of information in the record. D. The first link moves you to the first row of information in the record. And E. The View All link allows you to view all rows of information associated with the record. The following is based on your security access. When multiple rows of data exist, you must be careful about where information is being added or deleted. Click your cursor in the desired field to be sure the row of information is added in or deleted from the correct place. We will now select the plus or add icon to insert an additional row of data on the page. Inserting a row allows you to enter additional information to the record and also keep the existing rows of information. When inserting rows of data, the row counter changes to reflect that multiple rows of data exist. The counter now shows one of two rows. We will now select the minus or delete icon to remove the row of data from the unsaved record. If the page is not effective dated, you can delete a row of information you added at any time. No historical record of the row is saved. A row of data has now been deleted. When working with effective dated information, the Find an Existing Value step offers the Include History and Correct History checkboxes. This depends on your security access. These checkboxes save time by allowing you to specify the action you want to perform before you retrieve the record. After you retrieve the record, these page actions and others are still available for changing the way you view and update the data. We are now going to learn about effective dated categories. HCM 9.0 has 3 categories of effective dates: future, current, and history. Each category is described as follows. Future row. Any row of data that has an effective date after the system date is a future row. There can be multiple future rows. This row becomes the current row when the effective date matches the system date. Current row. The current row indicates the currently active row of data. This row of data has the most recent effective date closest or equal to the system date. The effective date for the current row cannot be a date in the future. There can be only one current row of data which will be effective until the next future dated row becomes effective. History row. Any row of data with an effective date earlier than the current row of data is a history row. There can be multiple history rows. Page actions allow you to access the information you need when working with effective dated records. You must add a new row in order to update current effective dated records unless you have security access to modify history. The Add icon. You can use this page action when you need to add a new record into PeopleSoft. The Update Display icon. You can use this page action to view or update existing records. This action only shows current and future rows of information. All rows display in chronological order. Therefore, if a future row exists, it's first displayed. The Include History icon. You can use this page action to view or update existing records. This action shows all rows of information, historical, current, and future. All rows, including historical information, display in chronological order. Therefore, if a future row exists, it displays first. Correct history. If you have the appropriate authority, you can use this page action when you need to correct current or historical rows. This slide has an example of page tabs. Tabbed grids contain subpages that allow you to view or enter additional information without having to scroll through a lengthy page. Click the tab to view the subpage and enter new information. In this graphic, the A, Amounts, and B, Changes tabs are examples of tabs on a tabbed grid. This slide is an example of a collapsible grid. Collapsible grids contain additional fields that are hidden under a group header. Click the arrow beside the header to open the grid and view the hidden fields. An arrow pointing down indicates that the grid is open. An arrow pointing right indicates that the grid is closed. This grid is now open. The grid is now closed. We are now going to be running queries. You can run a predefined query from your browser and view it online. When you click the Run button on the Query Manager search page, PeopleSoft Query displays the results in a new browser window. This Run option is useful if you want to run multiple queries or run the same query multiple times with different runtime prompt values and compare the results of the queries. To run a query, please select Reporting Tools now. And now select Query. And finally, select Query Viewer. I'm going to provide you with a few detailed instructions on using the search by criteria. All campus query names begin with SB underscore. If you know the entire name of the query that you want to run, select Query Name from the Search By drop-down list box, then enter the query name in the Search By field. If you do not know the name of the query and want to search through a list of queries, search by SB underscore, click the Search button, and display a list of up to 300 queries. The basic search allows you to search using the Begins With condition. The advanced search allows you to perform a progressively narrower search by using one or more search by criteria and selecting from a broad choice of conditions. For today's example, we will be using the basic search. We will now enter characters in the Begins With field. The search results are now displayed. The most commonly used programs for downloading are HTML and Excel. The XML publisher is not ordinarily used. The schedule link allows you to enter a date and time you'd like your report to be run. This will be covered in more detail in Running Reports and Queries training. We will be using Excel to run our report today. Some queries require security validation to run. For example, your employee ID. In this example, we would use a department ID. But for this training, we will not be using any ID, and our spreadsheet will be blank. We will now select View Results. The file download appears, and we will select Open to open our report. Our spreadsheet is now displayed. We can utilize the functions in Excel to navigate our spreadsheet. Select the Favorites hyperlink to save specific queries in the Favorites list. Your favorite queries are stored at the bottom of the page for easy access. Our training has now ended. Return to the Blackboard environment and complete the test. You are required to earn 80% or better. You will have the opportunity to retake the test if your first attempt is not successful. This is an open book test. Feel free to refer to the documents in the course as reference. Contact the Training Support Office if you have any questions at 909-537-7270